Yo guys, what's up? Sakuraflor here. So welcome back to my YouTube channel. This week I'm doing something that I haven't done before, which is an actual cosplay tutorial. But anyways, a lot of you guys asked me to do a tutorial on Tracer's Armguard. I made one last week, and a lot of you guys asked, well, how are you doing it? What material are you using? So for that reason, I'm making this tutorial. I'm mainly using 4X, but I'll tell you later in the video what other materials I use. But I want to let you guys know that this project is the first time for me using 4X, so I haven't got much experience with it, but it's awesome so far. And also letting you guys know that there are a billion different methods, so I'm just gonna share with you guys how I did it, but that does not mean that it's the only way. So I hope you guys can really enjoy it and that it's useful to many of you. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me on Facebook or through email or whatever. Everything is down below. So yeah, I'm just gonna show you the finished result. This is what we're gonna be making today. Also letting you guys know this is the base. So what does that mean? It means that after I finish this, so basically now, there's a lot to be done still, because it has to be filled up so that the gaps are not visible anymore, and it has to be sanded, and it has to be painted. So this is only the beginning, but of course this is like the most important part, because then having the base is having most of it, I guess, sort of, kind of. Anyways, so yeah, for today, let's start. I hope you guys enjoy it, and let's do this. Alright guys, so for the Tracer Armguard, I used the following materials. I used 4X for 3mm thick, heat gun, paper, scissors, super glue, foam, a Stanley knife, and a cup, of which I will explain the use later. So we start off with a sheet of 4X, but beforehand I already cut out all the patterns to Tracer's Armguard. These patterns are hand-drawn because they're not available online, so you have to draw them yourself. And the part that I'm holding is the rounded part of the Armguard, which you have to trace onto the 4X twice because there has to be one on each side. Now, I will be showing you the different parts of the Armguard, purely so that you guys get an idea of the pieces that I used, and maybe you can use it yourself as well. That part was the side guard, which you also have to draw out twice, and then there's this piece that connects those two side guards together so that you can give it the three-dimensional look that it has. Next is the piece that connects the two rounded parts of Tracer's Armguard. So we need to trace that and cut that out as well. And then there's some detailed pieces, like this piece, which connects the side guards to the rounded part of the Armguard on the bottom. And then there's another one that connects them together, but which is more rounded on the top. So it also gives more detail, but it also connects both pieces. So now that we've drawn everything out on 4X, it's time to cut it all out. I really advise to have a good knife. I used a normal Stanley knife, which is fine, but it takes you a lot longer to cut if it's not really sharp. And it's just a whole hassle, but it works fine, so it's okay if you just use the Stanley knife. But first off, I started scoring all the pieces so that there's a line on where you should cut, and then I just pressed it harder so that it's easier to cut out. It's a lot of work, especially if your knife is not that sharp, but it works perfectly fine. Alright, so I'm just showing you guys real quick. This is the cutout pieces on 4X. You can see that it's hard, it's still very flat, but we will work our magic on that later with the heat gun. But it's just to show you that it's exactly the patterns that I drew out, only now they're hard and they're from plastic. And we continue to cut pieces out. Alright, so now we've cut all the pieces out, but after cutting it out there are some excessive pieces still on the cut out parts, which you can easily take off with a Stanley knife because 4X is really easily to work with, and I kind of compare it to peeling potatoes. That's kind of how it feels when you're doing this, but you have to take all the excessive weird pieces off so that it will fit nicely later. Also, I want to let you guys know that there's dents and marks on the 4X, but once you use the heat gun and heat it up, it will pull together and you won't see it anymore, so don't worry too much about that. Okay, so now we're gonna heat up the 4X. When you heat up the 4X, make sure that you heat it up evenly everywhere so that it doesn't dent more on one side than on the other. And you can easily bend it along the form that you want it to. It's not as bendable as Black because it's not clay-like, but it works really well, and if you hold it into place long enough, it will stay like that. So as you can see, I'm doing on this piece, I'm just bending it along the Armguard line. And you're able to see right now it just stays like that. So now I'm going to be heating up the rounded part, and to make sure that it's evenly round everywhere, I'm using the cup. Yes, because when you put your fingers on 4X, it will leave dents in it, so using a cup is actually really good to make it even and round on every bit of the 4X and not have any finger dents in it. Alright, so in order to glue everything together, I use Paytex super glue. Any super glue will do, but just make sure not to use a hot glue gun because that stuff just does not work. So basically it's all about gluing everything together. Here you see both side parts. I haven't heated any of the things except for the line that connects both side guards, which I heated and bent along the arm guards lines, and then I just glued everything together. As you can see right now, this is already both pieces for the arm guard, which have to be connected to each other, but you can also see that it goes a little bit roughly and that it doesn't really fit nicely. So therefore what I did was heat up the side guard and bend it outwards a little bit, as it does also in Trace's original design of the arm guard, and like that you give yourself a little bit more space to put your arm in later, but it also looks a lot nicer and it also connects to the other piece nicely. So as you can see, it's bended outwards now, which makes it a lot easier to connect both pieces, but more than that, it also gives you more space, because what will not be on this video is the after parts that we do on this piece, which is basically also padding the inside for more comfort. So it needs some space for your arm to move in and out. So now we need to stick all pieces together, and of course you have to hold it and dance a little while you hold it, because why not, in order for it to be stuck. But what you can also see is that some pieces are sticking out, so what I do is actually heat it up and bend it along the arm guard so that it looks smooth and nice all together. So voila! Here we have the basic arm guard. It doesn't have any details yet, it's just the basic parts, but it's already stuck together and it's a good beginning. However, we need the detailed pieces. So I'm using the same approach as I did before, the potato peeling approach, to make the pieces look really nice and smooth, for it to be stuck on the arm guard. This piece is the one that connects the lower part of the arm guards to the side guard, and it just gives it a little bit more three-dimensional look because of the details. So I heat it up and I form it to the arm guard so that it will stick nicely, and then I put glue on it and I basically stick it on. And that's the same approach that I will be using for the other parts, because there's one on each side but also one on the top. So Trace's arm guard has some extra details which I didn't cut out beforehand, which I'm cutting out right now, which are like a double side on the very bottom of her arm guard, as you can see in the picture as well. And that's what I'm working on now, and these pieces have to really fit into the arm guard, which is why I'm cutting it up diagonally, and I will also be sanding it so that it really smooths into the piece and it won't look like a stuck on piece onto the arm guard. You can see that in her arm guard as well on the very inside of the arm guards, that it's like an extra layer that is on top of the bottom of the arm guard. So that's what I'm working on now. I didn't cut these pieces out beforehand, so I'm kind of cheating on you guys, but it's just rectangular pieces that you cut out and really just paste on top of it.
Here we go.
Oh, and here once again you can see how easy it is to really bend the Florex. Once it's heated up, it really goes along smoothly, so you can just press it into the form that you'd like to have, and then it basically just stays like that once it's hard. So it's actually really nice to work with. Alright, so having stuck all the details on, you can really see that it gives a more three-dimensional look. Afterwards, we still have to fill the gaps and make it all look pretty, but at least now we have the base. So we need to add the pieces at the bottom and at the top, because it's close at the top and at the bottom. And in order to make it really look like the way Trace has it on the picture, we're going to be using foam, because it's easier to bend and to just really form towards what you need. So I already had the pieces cut out on paper, and I just traced them onto foam and cut the whole thing out, and now it's just fitting and trying to see if it really connects well to Trace's arm guard, and just cut and paste and just try it all out. Also, I used Paytex glue, and I'm sanding it so that it looks a little bit nicer and rounder before I really stick the whole thing together. And then it's just all about fitting and making it fit and making it look nice. So now we need to do the same for the top part. Also, once again, I cut already the pieces out. I already had the patterns for this, so it's the same procedure, just tracing them onto foam and cutting them out again and making the whole thing fit. And that's it. That's the whole design. As you can see, it's all finished. Like I said before, there's still a lot that needs to do after this, but we have the basic arm guard. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope it's useful to you guys, and see y'all in my next tutorial, hopefully. Peace out.